Hi, we're Harriet and Mauro, and we're restoring a 5-acre smallholding in Spain into the homestead of our dreams. We are currently in the process of constructing a gorgeous yurt nestled at the end of one of our fields, surrounded by a seasonal stream and various young and slightly older fruit trees. Last week we finished building a huge platform for our new yurt to sit on, and this week we are putting up the walls and the roof. We battled some intense weather and we questioned many times our decision to embark on a massive building project like this in the middle of the wettest December on record, but somehow we pulled it off. Good afternoon. Today we are continuing on our yurt build and we are putting up the trellis walls. We've only got a couple of hours of light left because we spent a long time this morning bringing over everything that we need, including the super heavy wooden framed door and windows that we're going to be installing. We're just getting all our bits and pieces together.
So the first step is to mark the positions of the door and the window, which are relative to each other. Fix the position of this.
Yeah.
And then we drill it down.
By the way, we are going to be installing a set of stairs, some steps up to here, so the access will be a little easier.
No. You see how you lost a millimeter? You have to account for the length of the pencil, for the width of the pencil. You missed it again! You did it even worse! Oh my god! My technical...
Well, it's right in between the two lines, so yeah. There you go.
My technical drawing professor is rolling his grave.
Way too much. More. Tiny bit more. Pretty good.
Yeah, so the only ones that we need to cut are the ones that go against the frame because of this angle. So we need to cut this angle out, and then we also need to cut from here to get this like line straight, okay, and don't have like this little peak here that you could stub your toe against. These pieces of wood facilitate putting later a wooden floor or something like that, because it would be a lot harder to do it against a round edge. So they sort of adapt the round edge to a straight edge. That's what they're for. Now it's a moment of truth. Hey!
So we're about to put up the lattice, which forms the structure of the walls, and it attaches to the frames of the window and the door with these little brackets. So we're just going to put those on now.
Ah, we flipped it, so now they need to go the other way. There we go.
This lattice work was provided to us by Celtic Yurts in 3 pieces. The first piece went between the door frame and the window frame, and although it was heavy, it was manageable with 2 people. So the next job is to unfold all of these little flaps on the outside of the trellis and somehow stick them onto that. Well, screw them onto that, but I'm not quite sure. They're meant to bend, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, like that. The rest of the yurt wall was composed of 2 more lattice pieces, and these first had to be joined into one long piece, by which point it was far too heavy and unwieldy to manipulate with just the 2 of us. Luckily we had some friends nearby who could come and give us a hand at short notice, and with their help we managed to wriggle it into position and fix it to the door and the window frames. So the trellis is up, as you can see, and we're just moving the roof beams over, which is the next step, getting those up. Celtic Yurts gave us to use a elevator type crane thing to raise up the big ring for the skylight. Haven't looked at how it works yet. We're going to do that tomorrow, but we're just bringing everything over here so that we are prepared and we can just get that done. You're reorganising my pile.
Re is not the word that you want. I'm organizing your pile.
Now we're going to study lots of videos and figure out how to use this crane. It's a cold, grey day in December. There's the crane.
So the middle here-ish.
So a lot of yurt designs come with like 2 decorative wooden poles in the middle supporting the skylight or like the ring. This one doesn't, which is a detail I hadn't really noticed until I started comparing it to other yurts. The ring is just sitting up there in the air. There's no poles in the middle of the structure, which is a really nice feature I think, because we did have a pole in the middle of the bell tent that we used to have, and that was actually quite annoying. But yeah, without the poles you have to find another way to get the ring up there to install it, and that's where this crane comes in. Whoa!
That's not what I expected to happen.
Oh, it's going up. That's what I would have expected of a crane.
Dad.
Yeah, right. Like, is it meant to be so bouncy? Is that not... It's not weird? You alright there?
Alright. Needs to go right next to the door.
Okay.
just want to show the detail that the trellis here in the top union here, they have like 4 washers separation, and that is like the separation to hold the wire in place. That's something that I was wondering yesterday when we were building it, and like now I get why it is.
That's so cool.
I just really like how this whole thing is built. There is clever engineering, but like all the pieces are pieces that you could actually buy in the hardware shop. Like it's just clever.
It's cool, yeah.
But it's simple, which is difficult to do.
The wire that we are putting up here is central to the design and structure of the yurt. Traditional yurt designs use cords and ropes to create tension around the circular trellis work, and then the beams are perched on top of the trellis, resting in the little V's. With this design from Celtic Yurts, however, the beams will actually attach to these tensioning wires themselves, more evenly distributing the downwards and outwards forces across the lattice work. The counteracting forces of compression and tension create an extremely robust and balanced structure, which is rated to withstand winds of up to 100 kilometers per hour, hail, sleet, and snow. So there's actually 2 wires, I guess, just for additional support. You put this one on now as well?
Yeah.
The ring's going up.
The frame, is it?
Got it. Can I unwrap it?
Yeah.
It's like Christmas. It is actually Christmas. Beautiful. Alright, we're gonna lift the ring. Oops. We're gonna lift the ring up onto here.
Careful.
I just want to clear those prongs. I can't see behind me. Should I put it down?
Yeah. So high.
With the ring in place in the sky, it was time to start putting the 32 wooden beams into position. At this point, with the walls up and the beams going in, it really felt like we were so close to finishing, but let me tell you, we were actually still so far away. Okay, we've got 4 beams up, 2 opposite one another, and we want to get another 4 up in the opposite direction so that it's held from like 4 points. Yeah, well, we'll do more if we can, but that's where we need to get to be able to like walk away from it this evening. We're going quite fast now. We've got a system. We put the first one in upside down, but once we rectified that, everything has been going a lot better. Restock. Chickies! Come on, look! Look guys, look! So this is where we got to yesterday. We're missing 8 beams. We just ran out of time and light. We are struggling at the moment because it's Christmas and there's lots of stuff happening, so we're getting like hours here and there, and of course we've got rain coming again, and we really want to make sure the floor doesn't get wet. That's the main thing that shouldn't get wet. So we think we've maybe got one more day of work after we get the beams up to try and get the coverings on. Just hope we can get that done before it rains. How are your arms feeling after yesterday?
A bit sore. Shall we do those too?
Yep. No, we need to untangle those ones first.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
We crossed the wires over here by accident, so we actually need to fix that first before we go any further. As you can see, we've got a new, well, a borrowed ladder behind us, a much sturdier, taller A-frame ladder, which we need because once we've finished with this beams, the next stage is going to be somebody getting out through that ring, pulling all the canvases and the fabrics up through that ring to unfold them over the structure from the top.
And when she says somebody, she means me.
Yeah, I feel like your safety credentials are a little stronger. Like, honestly, I'll do it if you want. Should I do it? I don't mind giving it a go.
I feel like today is like the first cold day of the year.
My hands are cold.
Yeah, cold. I'm also quite high.
Okay, we're so close. 4 more to go. Alright, this is the last beam going in. Going in here.
Can I go in?
Yep, go in.
Alright, see if you can get it into the wires.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in.
Oh. Yeah, it's gonna be easy. I wouldn't be able to do this without the use of my head though. Like, that's an essential tool in this job.
Yeah, you don't use it very often. But when you do, it's to push wood.
It's to push wood, yeah. That is correct. Alright. Nearly done. That was actually one of the easiest ones. That was by far not the hardest. Right, we're in. So then Mauro secures with 6 screws up that end, and then I do one down here. Right, that was it. The last screw of the beams.
Good job, guys.
Does it like a good job high five? That was rubbish. Good job.
My hands are so cold.
We are doing the roof. So what Mauro is doing right now is tightening up the tensioning wires which run around the edge of the yurt and onto which all of the beams are attached. You may have noticed that the beams themselves are not resting on the trellis. They are literally just going to be supported by the wires that run around. They're going to be taking all of the like outward force. So yeah, we're going to tighten those all up and then we can remove the crane, which is a little bit of a scary step.
I don't know how tense it has to be, but this is really tense.
Alright, we built a structure. Absolutely nothing. Oh, beautiful. So this is the inside, the inner material, which will be seen from the inside.
Yeah, I imagine this is the top of the cone.
Sort of unfold it downwards, yeah. Right, it's been decided, mutually agreed, that I am going up the ladder. So funnily enough, the lightest element of the coverings was by far the hardest to get into place because it was so slippery and soft that it kept threatening to slip between the beams and drag the rest of itself with it. Gradually, and with lots of poking with a stick, we enticed it into position and the yurt suddenly started to feel like a closed structure with beautiful dappled light filtering through the fabric. The next layer was then the insulation, which was a little tricky to maneuver through the skylight, but much easier to unfold across the roof once it was up there because it was a lot more sturdy. This aluminium bubble insulation works by reflection, and as we live in a relatively mild climate, we chose a single layer of bubble insulation for our yurt. However, Celtic Yurts also offer double layers and thermoacoustic upgrades, so we may choose to add extra insulation in the future if we find we need it. Whoa, we have to slide it up the ladder somehow. To push it. I feel like this might be easier to take up there in the bag because it all sort of flops out. The next challenge was the outer PVC tarp. This piece weighed a ton and the first obstacle was just getting it up onto the roof in the first place. Thankfully the crane came in handy again, but it was still a challenge to get it from the crane onto the ring, and this whole time I couldn't help imagining what it must be like to build a 90 square metre yurt if it was this much of a challenge with a 30 metre one. What are you thinking?
I don't know.
Alright, I'm unfolding this bit. You ready? That's it, we're halfway.
Yeah, you can tell me.
Okay. Whew. We're halfway with the canvas covering. I have to say, this morning I was feeling really nervous up on that ladder, but I'm totally lost my fear of ladders right now.
I thought this would be the hardest part, and it's actually been the easiest.
Yeah, this canvas was the easiest so far. Alright, there's some ropes here. Let's see if I can.
There.
What are you doing now? Oh, you're going under.
Oh, I can throw you the rope and you can pull from
Okay. Tell me when I can pull more.
right now.
Yeah? Still stuck. Oh no, there it is. It's there.
You need to pull more from your right.
Alright, we've done it. The canvas is up. Doesn't it look amazing? It took a lot of shuffling to get it tightly over the trellis all the way around because, yeah, it is very tightly on. It's actually Christmas today. We're trying to cook a Christmas dinner simultaneously as do this. We're just going to try and get the dome up and then call it a day and go and eat some food. The beautiful polycarbonate dome is truly the crowning glory of the yurt. As with literally every step of this process so far, getting it in position was a little bit of a challenge and resulted in Mauro getting stuck looking like a tortoise at the top of the ladder for much longer than this clip would have you believe, but eventually we got it onto the roof. Oh, are you there? Are you stuck under it? On a stick.
That was the worst idea we've ever had.
We've had quite a bad idea during this year.
The ladder was too vertical and I was falling backwards.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Gonna need a spanner and a number 7 nut.
Okay.
On the screwdriver.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Thank you.
So the rain came a bit earlier than expected. We managed to get the walls up just in time by some miracle on Christmas Day morning, but the inner panels got a little bit wet in the process. It was just, impossible to completely protect them as we were working. We protected the floor, we saved the floor, which was the main thing, and that is dry. But the inner walls are a little bit damp, so we need to really start drying things out in there and get a fire lit. So here I am on Boxing Day morning, first thing in the morning at Obramat, buying bits of stovepipe connector. Alright, we have our stove. We have all our bits and pieces. Mauro is rocking his new Christmas present. Stand up and show everyone. So yeah, we are in the yurt. We're finally working inside, which is really nice. And we are starting to install the stove, which is a pretty scary step because it involves cutting through all the layers of the coverings, the canvases and the fabric of the yurt. So got to make sure we get the positioning just right. Anyway, we will be doing that in the next video. So thank you for watching this one and we will see you next week.